Hello, one and all. Josh here to remind you that the reason you're listening to this podcast called InterBrews is because you love it, and you love craft beer, and you love Houston craft beer, the Houston area, greater Houston area, because not all of them happen in Houston proper. Sometimes, like on this episode, we're in other places, like Brookshire, but we'll get into those details later. But you can help support this show by going to our Patreon page. Either click the link below or go to patreon.com/interbrews or interbrews.com/Patreon. And for as little as $1 an episode, you can help support the show and keep great Houston craft beer audio in your ear holes forever and ever. Thank you. On to the show.
The following is a presentation of Stewed Productions.
Hey, I'm Marcus.
And this is AJ. It's my first time. You're listening to InterBrews.
This is InterBrews.
We'll be gentle. Ladies and gentlemen, Baa Baa Brewhouse, Marcus, AJ, back and on for the first time. Back on. We're doing it.
Hey, welcome back, man. Good to have you.
It is good to be back. It is good to be here. It is good to have a beer in front of me, friends down the bar, and some mics in front of us, and we'll just talk.
Sounds good.
Sounds great.
Yeah. So, AJ, welcome to Baa Baa.
Thank you.
Congratulations on joining the family. You've been adopted.
Yeah, it's much appreciated. It's been so far so good. It's started on Monday.
Do you get your own room? How does it?
No, I think they're starting to build that out. So
okay.
We have bunk beds upstairs.
Like quadruple bunk.
For those long nights.
Well, cool. So do you have an official title? Just new guy? I don't know. Is that?
So AJ has the title of, he is the, he's the brewery rat, effectively.
Okay.
Unofficially, I guess. And that would correspond officially to brewery apprentice, I believe.
Yep. Well,
yeah. Brewhouse operations apprentice or brewery apprentice or I don't remember the wording, but it's something
I don't remember
like
the
that.
official title.
No, I like it. It's like, I like apprenticeships. We need more of those in life. It's like you go to a place and learn how to do the thing at that place because that's unique to that place. In this instance,
we felt it was very appropriate, considering AJ's come from another industry or with various backgrounds and didn't have really any professional experience in the brewing industry. So we said, hey, let's start with an apprenticeship.
Yeah.
That way we can pretty much get you into everything that we're into across the board.
Yes. What's been your favorite so far?
So far, it was yesterday, the first time I did a brew day here. That was interesting and fun. Seeing it on a big, I've home brewed in the past, so had a small idea, but seeing it on this scale is a bit different. So,
what was your first brew that you brewed yesterday?
Actually, what we're drinking right now, the Big Sheep Kolsch. Yep.
That's awesome.
Big Sheep.
Yeah, Big Sheep.
We brew a lot of Big Sheep.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You said it's your number one seller.
Number one seller.
Which I can see it's delicious. It's a great pre 10 a.m. beer.
That's right.
Which I think we beat 10 a.m. right?
Oh,
Yeah.
No, it's when I say bestseller, it's not the fastest seller. It doesn't move like say our hazy IPAs or now what we're doing with our fruited beers.
Yeah,
they don't move as fast.
Right.
However, on the grand scale, this is a winner.
Mm-hmm. This is okay. So I love the fruited beers and the hazies and all of that. I do, and the hype that goes around it. People get excited. There's the passionate, vocal group. I don't know how many are in that group. Could be 1 million with the amount of posts and everything like that, or it could be like 4 really, social media savvy people. I don't know, but I love those beers. I love to try those beers. But as far as like personality and my pace in life, a Kolsch is just that's it. That's a fantastic life beer.
So we'll get you into some other beers later in the show, and you'll see.
Okay.
You might change your mind.
Okay.
It's hard to say.
Okay, I'm willing to. I'm open-minded. I'm willing to let my mind be expanded. I don't know, just for like given to my own devices, right? It would be sitting on my couch all day, probably, not going putting around the house. It's not going out on adventures. I'm like a hobbit, and this is. I don't know.
And you're sipping on a Big Sheep the whole time.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Wondering what's for dinner after I finish breakfast. It's like, what are we going to do for the next meal? That's kind of me.
Okay.
It's very
cool.
It's very Hobbit-like. Maybe not the healthiest, but it's me. And that's why I do your trash can just rolled.
Mind of its own.
Yeah. It's a little windy. I don't know if that was it though.
Sorry, I thought someone was breaking into the building there for a second.
Maybe they're just emptying your trash for you. Walked in, spent grains outside. It was just like a all you could eat buffet. So thank you. I had a couple handfuls and
Yeah.
feeling ready for the show.
Oatmeal for the breakfast.
Yeah.
So people feel welcome.
Is that only here at Baa Baa? You know, you don't get that at other breweries. They don't just have a meal ready for you. So other than bringing on AJ as apprentice, and well, let's talk about all like the Fruit Ninja beer. It's just been like every time I turn around, there's a new beer being released, and it's exciting.
Yeah, well, I mean, the whole Fruit Ninja thing comes from our love for, like, I guess, different beers and different styles and experimental styles. Actually, AJ played kind of a key role in getting us into that style. He
Really?
introduced us to some crowlers from the Answer. We've known of them, but we never actually had one. So I think the first Answer crowler we ever had, and probably everyone since then, has come from AJ. So he has some hookups.
Yeah.
And then we've discovered some other breweries throughout the country who do similar style beers. So we have some inspiration. And what we're doing is not trying to copy those breweries, but try to kind of cut our path. I guess on a similar path, but kind of cut our own way through that whole like fruited, sour kind of scene, if you will.
Yeah.
It's not really a style, so it's hard to. So I'm kind of stuttering around because there's no style guideline for this beer. It's just sort of, it is what it is.
Right.
So it's a tough style to describe, to be honest with you. I guess we're calling it a slushy, or a smoothie, a slushy or a smoothie. It depends who you ask. That's kind of where we are.
Yeah.
And we'll try one later on, and it really is more like a fruit smoothie. They're coming in right about 6% for us. So
Okay.
You'll never know that. With all the fruit that's being blended in there, they're quite sweet, but it's not a bad sweetness.
Right.
It's a very fruity sweetness. So they're quite delicious beers. Now, I will say this: not everyone's been delicious. There's been some mishaps. There's been some drain pours. There's been some complete dumps.
Was that because of the nature of the fruit itself, or?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, sometimes the fruit combos just don't work out for us. I mean, we don't really know exactly what we're doing with this project, to be perfectly honest. I mean, we're throwing fruit at it. And we're saying, okay, what's going to happen? It sounds good,
Right.
it tastes good, and then you blend it or ferment it with beer, and you're like, okay, that's not what we had in mind. So it's a progressive thing that we're doing. We're constantly working on it, and we're pushing out. In the beginning, we were pushing out 2-3 beers a week through Hop Drop only through crowlers.
Yeah.
Now we're kind of backing down a little bit and focusing more on, okay, how do we make a little bit more of that, and how do we get a little bit better quality beer out to the public. We canned our first one last week, so that was great. We released it on last Sunday.
Okay.
It was absolutely epic out here. I mean, we talked to some people, and some people waited in line for an hour.
Yeah.
Which I don't necessarily like. I wouldn't like to wait in line for an hour, but I have to say it was pretty cool to see this support like way out here. So far from town.
Yeah.
We had people from San Antonio coming in. We had people from all over town coming in.
Really?
So it was a really cool event.
And
it was-
already working on ways to improve that weight to try to reduce it and get it down for the next one. So
Yeah, that's right. So having AJ on board is great, because when AJ came on board, we started a log. We started, okay, how do we make this better? How do we make everything around here better and more efficient? So the first thing on there was, how do we reduce that line? Because that line will hopefully will continue to happen. Mm-hmm. And how do we reduce that? How do we become more efficient and get those people who waited for an hour in line waiting 15 minutes?
Yeah.
Or half hour, or something shorter than 1 hour for sure.
Right. And is it
Well, we're gonna put it to test the next time we have a release.
okay?
So speaking of that, we're looking at probably second half of November for a release.
Yes, as we talked about before we recorded.
Yeah.
Second half of November, just in time for Thanksgiving.
Well before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, we're targeting like 2 weekends before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And we'll see how that goes. I don't want to throw any dates out there right now because it's not solidified on our calendar yet. But
Right.
It'll probably most likely be a couple weeks before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
So we'll be
Right.
sure to let everybody know.
Yes. But such is the nature of living things.
Mm-hmm.
They're ready when they're ready.
That's right.
Right. and you've got so many living things going into the beer. Y'all, the fruit, the yeast, the grain, all of that.
Well, also, like I said, we're pushing this style pretty hard. So what I would hate to do is be like, yes, we're doing this on November 9th, and then the beer doesn't really live up to our expectations, and we dump it on the floor down the drain, and it's like, oh, sorry, it's going to be on the 23rd. So no dates confirmed because we're kind of waiting to see how it's all going to turn out.
I think there's two parts of that I think is a wise strategy. One, it builds anticipation, but two, it's an honest strategy. Or it's not a strategy, approach. It's just honest. You're just honest with the beer, and that's just what it is. So I think people appreciate that.
Well, it's what craft's all about, right? I mean, we're basically living like it's not paycheck to paycheck, it's beer to beer, right? We're living beer to beer. You know, we make a beer, we package a beer, we release a beer. We're not sitting on inventory. We don't have inventory in our cooler. If it's in the cooler, it's connected to a tap, and if it's not connected to a tap, it's being sold somewhere. So we're not building. We don't have a warehouse full of beer that can be released whenever. Yeah. It's beer to beer. Mm-hmm. It's tank to tank. Tanks are full. Tanks get packaged. Tanks get sold. That's how we roll, and I think that's how a lot of us in this situation kind of move forward.
Yeah. Well, talk to me about. So you said summer misses. What? I know there's a lot of people when I hear that, I'm like, I would still try it. I know there's a lot of people that have that sentiment, but you have a standard. So when you try it, what are you looking for? Like, what you say? Okay, this is not quite it, or this is it, or what are your criteria? What are you looking for?
Well, I think we're just looking for something that we would drink. To be honest, if I'm being fair, if I can't sit out on my back porch and enjoy it, then I'm not going to sell it to you.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. So the beer stops at your palate. This is the final judge.
Well, not my palate.
Well,
we all work for somebody.
True.
You've met my wife Kinga.
I have, yeah.
Kinga does. I mean, she has really the final say on what happens with the flavors, and so if it doesn't pass her palate, then we usually don't sell it. Now, we have some pretty heated debates about that from time to time, but I mean, literally, she's got a pretty amazing palate for what for beer across the board. Her thing is hazy IPAs and right now fruited beers. Mm-hmm. So she's developed quite a unique palate for that, and she's done so much research to get there. We have a fridge full of beer from all over the world, based in those two styles, and we drink all of them, and we try to understand what they've done, and try to understand if we like it, how do we get there? If we don't like it, what did they do wrong, or what did they do that we don't prefer, and how do we not do that?
Yeah.
So a lot of research goes into this.
That sounds like a fun YouTube show, if you'll ever had spare minutes.
What would you call that show? Like broken livers?
Something. Yes, something. I don't know. It seems like it would be fun though. The dynamic there to kind of figure out what's behind the next beer and what's I don't know. That's the part I love to hear about and see and dig into. It's like, you made an amazing beer. What went into it?
Yeah, sure. I mean, in between her and I, and now AJ's on board, and between the other folks that we surround ourselves with that are associated with the brewery and who have helped us kind of develop these styles, we do have tasting events, and we sit around and we say, okay, what do we do? How did they get there? So it's usually a pretty healthy debate.
Yeah. What's been the most heated? Is it like, because some people, palates are different. Palates are very individual things. Has there been like, some people just don't like the taste of, certain fruits. Like my wife doesn't care for fruit all that much. She loves wine and she loves fruity IPA type, from the IPA, like citrusy type things, but she's not big on fruit. And then me and my daughters, we could literally eat a one of those double pints of blueberries, just sitting there, just eating them straight. Love it. So, has there been any heated fruit debates or anything like that where maybe it was just somebody's palate that just, maybe they, like when a judge has to pull themselves out, like a Supreme Court justice, they have to recuse themselves because they have too much of a personal interest in it. Has there been any recusals of
No,
fruit?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like you said, with regards to like professional beer judging, for instance, what you're looking at is not, do I like the beer? It's, does it meet the style guidelines?
Yeah.
But on top of that, you kind of have to like it, right? So when I said the beers have to pass like the personal palate taste test, that means myself, that means Kinga, now that means AJ, and that means anybody else who's kind of close to us. It does have to pass that, but it also has to fit the style. And it's kind of hard with those fruited beers because there really is no definitive style. So the style is kind of it's like the Wild West of beers. I mean, there's no direction. But it does have to fit the style. So number one, it fits the style. Number two, it passes the taste test. And that taste test involves like, do we like it? Yes or no. Does it have any off flavors? Yes or no. If it does, are they significant enough to move forward or to say we're done? Okay, yes or no. It's kind of a checklist of things. When we go through that, it's not a formal checklist. We don't actually write it down, but you go through that in your mind. Like, does it meet all these criteria? And if it does, then we move forward. If it doesn't, we change direction.
Yeah. Trying to figure out where I can put my phone without it doing that. Anyway, AJ, fruit-wise, what's your wheelhouse? What has been the thing that has...
I've definitely gravitated more towards the berry side of the fruit ninjas. So blueberry, blackberry, raspberry, so on and so forth. I do like some of the mango, or some of the ones that mango, passion fruit, stuff like that. But definitely the berry side of things, the berry side of the fruit family is definitely more my thing. I'm not so much into the tropical stuff.
Yeah. Marcus? Sorry.
Yeah, honestly, I'm kind of there as well. And it's weird because we see most beer drinkers in at least in like Greater Houston, we see them gravitate towards that as well. And I don't really know why that is. Maybe it's just more of a traditional sour like mentality.
Maybe
you don't see a lot of like traditional sours or lambics or anything in that kind of general arena being fermented or aged on mangoes.
Yeah, they just didn't have it.
So I think it's a little bit. I think the beer drinker is a little more accustomed to having those darker, more, I guess maybe dank's not the right word to describe fruit, but the danker fruits, if you will, like the really, really intensely flavored, earthy, but sweet kind of fruits.
Yeah.
But I will say on that note, kind of contradicting that, one of my favorites from at least our Sunday release that we did was the golden berry mango one that we released on Sunday.
What's a golden berry?
No,
I have no idea. I'd never even heard of that.
I totally agree, and that's actually the one that I said I'm going to pour you that one because that's my favorite.
Okay.
So I think that's cool. I think we're in agreement there. I didn't know that till right now, but that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
It's delish.
I don't know. Maybe it is like deep seated in our DNA or something. I don't know how many generations it goes back. I guess if we all go back far enough, it's all the same. But I don't know, like the last 10 generations or whatever. I don't know. When fruited beers were a thing, it was all from Europe and that area, right? So,
yeah, so you see a lot of darker fruits in there. I mean, a lot of fruits that honestly sometimes things we've heard of them but don't really know what they are. Like I don't know, like a black currant. What is a black currant?
Yeah, I always thought it was just a fat raisin or something.
Right.
Yeah.
So I didn't know either. So we were in Poland. Kinga is from Poland, my wife, and really the owner of Baa Baa Brew. She's from Poland. We were in Poland this summer, and her aunt had some red currants growing in the garden.
Really?
So she said, "Hey, that's a currant." I would have never known. So we tried some.
Yeah.
They were awesome.
Yeah.
And I did ask her, "What's the difference between a black currant and a red currant?" You'll never guess what the answer is.
What?
One's black and one's red. I'm like, come on, man. There has to be a better answer than that, right?
Yeah.
So that was the answer I got, and I'm still kind of laughing about that.
Well, there's black raspberries or the dark raspberries, right? And then they look a lot like a blueberry or a blackberry, but they don't taste the same. I don't know. I've never done a full on like let's set up the berries, do a berry flight. I've not done.
The one thing I've discovered, through trying different fruit beers, especially like from different breweries across the country, is constantly finding fruits I've never heard of in my life.
Yeah.
Just random, off the wall, like didn't even know that exist, let alone what it was, that it even existed. So that's definitely been kind of interesting, is finding just these fruits that I'd never heard of before, and getting to dry them in beer for the first time rather than from the grocery store sitting on a shelf.
So what have you tried that you had never tried before?
Black currant would be one of them. I'd have to get my phone, but there was a fruit from the answer they put in one that I honestly had never heard of before. I'll double check that. I'll grab my phone here in a second and double check that and see if I can find what it was. But yeah, they've just some obscure things that I didn't even know it was an actual thing.
Okay. Well, we've referenced the answer 3-4 times already. Where are they at, and what's their...
Richmond, Virginia.
Okay. Richmond, Virginia. Not far from Washington, D.C.
Nope.
Where our Astros came from, victorious, and then came back here and
Started losing again.
started losing again. I don't know if there's ever been a World Series where where the home team lost every game in a 7-game series. I don't
know that. I don't know if that'd be the case.
I don't know, but it's very possible it could happen today. That's where we are today.
Fingers crossed that it doesn't happen, though.
Right. It's I don't know. So anyway, that's where we are. If you're listening to this in the future, whatever happened tonight, being Game 7 of the 2019 World Series, we're sitting here with hope. But you know that it could have either been adulation after the show. Wow, look at that beer. Or it could have been heartbreak. So this was when we were on the cusp. But this beer looks amazing, Marcus. Looks like
Pineberry. That's the one. Sorry.
Pineberry.
Pineberry. I've never heard of a pineberry. Don't even know what a pineberry is. Still don't know what a pineberry is.
I wonder if it comes from a pine tree bush thing. What are the flavors? Does it have kind of a piney thing, or is it?
No, it's definitely more like a berry.
Aren't there pine nuts as well? Pine nuts?
Pine nuts, yeah, they're pine nuts.
Yeah.
This is not a pine nut beer.
Oh, has anybody ever made a pine nut beer? I don't know. Toasted pine nuts?
It's an idea. I've seen macadamia nuts in beer, almonds in beer.
Pecans, yeah. All right.
So did you guys get to the bottom of AJ's connection with the answer, or is that
oh no, I don't. I think I just heard Richmond, Virginia, and went off on a tangent because.
I mean, how I found out about it was through local beer traders here. A good friend of mine here in Houston introduced me to one of their beers. I sought out a Facebook page to try to, and ended up finding their community page, which is extremely active and a lot of people looking to trade beer.
Yeah.
A guy was interested in trading for some stuff out of Copperhead and Conroe. I was lucky enough to have what he was looking for and traded for some more beer, and that relationship's kind of been going back and forth ever since, and that's how I get a lot of the stuff I get down here.
All right. That's what you need to do. Online, like, for all the craziness out there and the whatever, there's some nuggets like that.
Yep.
Where real relationships happen.
That's right.
And you can get some good beers.
Yeah, definitely.
No, and we all benefit from that. I mean, like I said, the first time we ever had beers from those guys was from AJ. So, like I said, we're not trying to copy that brewery, but it is an inspiration. And there are others as well, but that's kind of where this project started. Was like, okay, how the hell did they make that?
Have y'all reached out as a brewery to talk to them?
No.
Would you be interested in doing that?
Well, of course we would.
Because they're probably going to hear this podcast and be like, what?
No, of course we would. I mean, it's it'd be great. We wouldn't mind, for sure.
I think from just talking to Marcus, I know he's big on not only not necessarily calling breweries, but traveling and actually going to physically visit breweries when he's in the area and talk to people in that manner. And I think that's an admirable trait rather than just calling somebody up and asking them for tips.
Yeah, so. No, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what all the laws allow for collaborations and stuff. I mean, you would know way more about collaborations than.
I don't know. I mean, honestly, I can give you my personal input. I mean, if somebody calls me and says, "Hey, how do I do this?" I will first ask, who are you, and then what are you trying to do, and how many times have you tried to do this? Mm-hmm. And if that person is like, "Yeah, I'm starting a brewery. We're not open yet, and I've never done this before," I will kind of say, "Hey, maybe you should go try it first, and then try it a few times, and then bring some over, and let's talk." I'm not claiming to be the guy who knows everything by any means, but we do get a lot of questions. Just as I'm sure all brewers do and all brewery owners do, you get a lot of questions, a lot of random stuff like, "Hey, how do I do this?" Like, I don't know. What are you trying to do? And a lot of times when you ask that the person on the other end doesn't actually know kind of what they're trying to do. So you sort of put them on the path of, "Hey, look, maybe you should go try that first. Mm-hmm. Give it a shot. Yeah. Put your ideas to test. And if you're still having trouble after a few months, or if you tried 10 times and you still can't figure it out, but you've gotten really close, then maybe we can have a conversation." But it's a lot of the stuff it's not proprietary knowledge. It's things that a lot of brewers know. Like, most brewers could figure out how to make this beer. It's not a big secret. I'm not going to tell you how I do it, but many brewers could figure out how to do this.
Wow.
So what do you think? This is the gooseberry mango fruit ninja.
Gooseberry.
Yeah. Let me see what the actual name is.
It says goldenberry up on
Oh,
top.
sorry.
Goldenberry?
It's like a goldenberry. I call it gooseberry. I don't know what a goldenberry is.
I'm glad you said goldenberry. I'm definitely allergic to gooseberries. I'm just kidding.
Okay, good. Well,
I don't know if I've ever had a gooseberry. But
so it's I guess I'm looking at the Untapped menu now on the wall, and I guess it's a goldenberry mango.
no, that's
As a note, according to Google, they are actually the same thing.
Right. Okay.
okay.
So they could be both.
Okay. It's delicious.
It's a golden goose mango.
I
See?
like that. Yeah. No, I like that. It is. I would put this in the category of. How would I describe this? It does get you a little jowly, so there's a little tartness, but it's not overwhelming. Tons of fruit, like very, just like mango, smooth, fruity, but it still has like the CO2 bite, or so it's. I would put it in the category of sunshine beers. It reminds me of like morning sunshine. Like
I like that.
Sunshine.
I like
Okay,
that term.
so first, before you go on, what is a sunshine beer? So I understand what you're talking about.
So when I look at the color and like maybe the warm fuzzies it gives me inside,
okay.
kind of that early morning, the day's still ahead of me. I haven't messed it up yet. There's still hope. It's not like a nighttime. I need to recover from the day beer. Like I need to try to salvage this emotionally. It's hope. It's like a sunshine brunch Sunday morning. You don't have anything, work related or anything like that ahead of you. It's just going to be like true life sunshiny day. There's some 70s song or something. I don't know.
Right. Okay. Gotcha.
That's-
It's going to be a bright, sunshiny day.
Yeah,
Is that where you're going?
So maybe, yeah. I think that seems. Clearly, I can see. Yes, as the clouds part outside. Yes, clearly, I can see clearly that's a great. Now that the rain is gone, it's a great description. Yes.
Yeah, I'm with you. Okay, I got you. So okay, cool. So I mean, you're getting those notes because the base. We call this a sour IPA. We call it a sour IPA because this beer does have quite a large hop load in it. The hop load is probably it's very similar to what you might put into like a West Coast IPA.
Really?
So it's extremely covered up by all the fruity sweetness and the fruity flavors and overall the fruity goodness, if you will.
But it's not sweet like what my kids would drink. Sweet.
Right.
So it's not something that I like. That's what I knew as an adult when I tried something that they loved. I was like, man, that just tastes like sugar on steroids or something. This is not that. There's sweetness, but it's like adult sweetness, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does make sense. I mean, it's like eating fruit. It's not like eating sugar.
Yeah.
It's not like drinking Welch's grape juice.
Right, exactly. And definitely the consistency of this beer is much greater, or I guess the thickness, the viscosity is much greater than that of a Welch's grape juice fruit. It's not water like. It's like a smoothie like, if you will.
Yeah, it's like what you would get at like a high-end restaurant where they're using real fruit in a like we have freshly pressed orange juice with mango or whatever. It's all that,
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's not. Yeah, orange juice, when you buy orange juice at the store and you can see through it or whatever. That's not right.
Right. This is like the real stuff. The stuff that has the pulp in the bottom and you have to shake it up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I like.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
So I mean, the base for this beer is effectively it's not a big secret that we're calling this a sour IPA, as we just discussed. So we do sour this beer. It's a kettle sour. Again, no trade secrets there. A lot of breweries are doing this. But it's at the end of the day, what we do with the beer from there is something that we kind of keep close and personal, and we don't really tell people what we do there. Although, like I said, if you're a brewer, you can figure that out. If you're not a brewer, you can probably figure it out as well. But thank you, sir. We're mixing up a lot of these beers, if you will. Like I said, they're about 6%. But this is kind of one of my favorites. Number one because of the consistency, because of the viscosity. It's thick, but it's not so thick.
Right.
You can pour it
Yes.
easily, if you will.
You don't need a spoon.
It sticks to the side of the glass. I mean, you're seeing fruit particulate on the side of the glass. Like, I mean, it's, if you're part of the dirty glass mafia, you're not gonna be happy,
Yeah.
if you will, right?
Right.
The flavors are good. You can see the fruit in the beer. The carbonation is super low, which like I said, there's really not a style, if you will. But everything we've had in this like pseudo style, the carb is super low. There is CO2 in this beer, believe it or not, but it's not extremely noticeable. It's not on the front end. You're not going to get a big frothy white or orange or whatever color head.
Right.
You just don't.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we're shooting for.
I like it. Call me a fan. Call me. I don't know what you. Call me a. I don't know.
So did I change your mind? Would this be, instead of Big Sheep, would this be your kind of like Hobbit early day Hobbit beer?
Yeah, this would definitely be my my fried egg on a piece of toast with this on the side. You could even drink this with your, like, I don't know, like maybe in between cups of coffee or before your coffee, and then go here and then go to. I don't know. It would work into the mix for sure.
Yeah, my dad actually. That's what he mentioned when my dad's not into like typically into these kind of craft beers. He's into more like, he loves Marcus Kolsch and things like that. But he tried one of these actually on Sunday, and he's like, "Oh man, I need this for breakfast." He's like, "Forget drinking juice." He goes, "I could just have this in the morning."
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I definitely get that vibe from it too.
So, okay, I got to break this down. You could market. I don't know if you can market this as a health drink, but fresh fruit. So tons of what I guess like vitamin C and A and or whatever other vitamins are in mango. I don't know what's in mango. B. There's some B's. Tons of B's in this. Any B's? I don't know.
No clue.
Hops have all the, whatever they have. Don't they have things? Hops have things.
They have things. Nice things.
Yes, like not antioxidant. That's from the yeast. Antioxidants from the yeast.
Well, I mean, I think you could probably go out there and you could go to Austria and you could go to a brewery called Stiegel. I've never been there, but Kinga has been there. So they have a beer, and I've had this beer. She brought it back for me. It's marketed as like a health, I don't know, like a health forward beer or a health conscious beer, or like drink this for good health type of beer. So I don't want to say you could drink this as like a healthy option. However, what's more important? Like, is happiness more important to health, or is like health more important to health? Or is happiness part of overall health? You see, so
yes.
I think you're getting some fruit contribution.
Yeah.
And you're getting some happiness. So you're getting some vitamins and you're getting some happiness. So you're fulfilling like at least half the healthy triangle.
Yeah.
You're filling half of something with three things in it. Wait a minute.
I see exactly what you're saying. I mean,
You know what I mean. I don't know.
Thirds are difficult.
Yeah. No, I get it. But
you can't fill half a third, but
right.
you get what I'm saying. These beers make people happy. And at the end of the day, if you're happy, you're healthy.
Yeah.
This is not a health beer. This is not a health product. This is not a fruit smoothie. This has alcohol in it. This has beer in it. But it is good.
Yeah. It is good. Yeah, it's a little it's happiness in a glass. It's sunshine. It's sunshine.
As you said earlier.
That's I want to I need like a pot of flowers next to me as I sit here and eat like a fried egg on some toast. I had like a quick bowl of cereal this morning just to have something, because as a professional, I can't come in and try beers on an empty. I mean, I could. I choose not to, because I know what happens. It's not
a good look.
It's not a good look. Yeah, it's me swinging from rafters and things. It's not good. But maybe when I go home maybe I'll do fried. Yeah, I don't know. It's good.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
Maybe some like a grilled ham steak or something. I don't know. Anyway,
Now you're gonna get me hungry.
Anyway, just thinking of all the options. Okay, so wrestling fruit though. Are there some fruits that have been easier to handle than others? Is there a notoriously like bugaboo of a fruit? Like, do mangoes give you I don't know what's easy, what's not as easy. Blackberries have like seeds and stuff, right?
Yeah, no, I think that maybe talk to us in a year. You know, I think right now we don't have enough experience with this to really comment like which fruits really are difficult to deal with.
Okay.
I mean, we're pretty new at this game, and like I said before, we've been at this for about 2-3, maybe. Well, I guess like we've been at this for about 6 months. The first beer we released was about 2.5 months ago.
Okay.
We're new in this scene, and we definitely don't know anything at all.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, we don't know anything about what we're doing with this style.
Mm-hmm.
So we're kind of figuring it out as we move forward. So whatever I say would be somewhat, I don't know, probably wrong.
Well,
So I'm just going to kind of not say anything there.
true for where you're at now, though, right? I mean, of what you've,
Yeah.
I guess, right?
I mean, for now, we've although we're being quite experimental, we've kept it pretty safe.
Okay.
We're dealing with fruits that people somewhat know and are familiar with, and we know that those fruits taste good on their own.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not dealing with anything that we have never heard of before, well, except for like the golden gooseberry. I don't really know what a gooseberry is,
Right.
but I have heard of it, and I have had juices, if you will. So know how it tastes, but other than that, not much about it. So we're pretty new in the scene. So I think, yeah, I could give no further advice and or recommendations, to be honest with you.
Rich. That's the word this is a rich beer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not like hoity-toity, but like the experience is rich. Texture,
Mm-hmm.
mouth, all that. It's rich.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. Like you should wear a vest or something. Like I don't know why a vest. Smoking jacket? I don't know. Something. Like it needs like its own. I don't know, like it's a, you know what I'm saying? Like an approach, like
A bit more formality in the approach.
something, yeah, ritual, something to it.
You need a poncho,
Yeah, that could work.
like a nice one,
Like a drinking poncho?
a waterproof one,
Oh, yeah.
but a nice one.
Yeah.
In case you spill it,
Oh, yes.
it won't ruin your clothes.
And maybe a pocket to catch residual, and you could then
Reuse.
reuse.
A poncho with a bib.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a high bib.
Now you're talking.
Well, or I guess yeah. And it's right there.
That's right.
Catches what you spill,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can just
Recycle it.
right into the glass.
Uh-huh.
And
No
it wouldn't-
waste.
Yeah, it's not a spill, it's aeration.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Just getting more flavor into the beer.
Yeah, so you need a poncho. You've seen the comedian Gallagher, right?
Oh, yeah.
In the old days
Mhm.
with the
Sledge-o-matic.
Sledge-o-matic, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So yeah, this is. That was one of the ideas we had to name these beers to begin with. One of the ideas I had was the Sledge-o-matic,
Mm-hmm.
because that's kind of what they are. I mean, it's
Smash
just-
all the fruit and dump it into the beer.
Yeah, that's right. It's fruit everywhere, and if you're sitting in the front row, you need a poncho.
Have you, well, speaking of Sledge-o-matic, have you used watermelon?
No, never use watermelon.
Do you have a list of fruits that are like on your fruit to do?
We do. Yeah, we do.
Fruit to do list. Fruit to do.
Uh-huh.
What's on there? Are watermelons on there? I've heard watermelons are a little. I tried to make watermelon wine one time, didn't turn out.
I think what you're going to have to do is just show up to the tap room.
Okay.
And you're going to have to just see where we go with that one. So,
Okay.
I mean, speaking of that, the tap room is now going to be open again. So we're going to be open every Saturday now.
Yes.
And we're still working on those hours.
Okay.
But we're hoping to publish that today or
So-
maybe tomorrow.
Yeah, you got the new glass door, which is fantastic. It's maybe speaking of sunshine, even on a overcast day, sunshine still fills this place.
Mm-hmm.
And all the happiness that is Baa Baa is. You can see it. You could feel it before, but now you can see it clearly.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, that's right. So new glass doors in, which gives you plenty of light. We are adding AC this winter or later this fall sometime. So,
Okay.
we'll also add heat.
Nice.
As you know, it does get cold out here because this is pretty much we work in a tin can.
yeah.
With very little insulation, so it's hot, it's cold.
I mentioned it before I left this morning to my wife. I was like, yeah, last time we were there, I think it was colder in the brew house than it was in the bright tank. I think or in the cooler. It was.
Yeah, we were going in the cooler to get warm. Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was below freeze. We were like, I go back and look at those pictures, and we look like Eskimos, or Arctic explorers with all you could see was just noses through furry hoods.
Yeah, so I mean, we try to keep it a little warmer in here now because we're much more active. But we have the glass door out front, which helps with that ambiance, if you will. New sound systems in, so we have nice music. The tap room now is kind of in the front half of the building, so we have tables to sit out there with plenty of chairs. The brewing space is kind of in the back of the building now, along with the tap wall. So we don't really let anybody sit here at the bar. We're sitting at the bar now. We don't let anyone really sit here. We kind of try to keep people out of this area. So they come here, get a beer, and then go back to the kind of the seating area, if you will.
Yeah.
Plus the space out back, the space out front.
Yeah. Big area out back.
We're hoping to keep this place kind of kicking now every Saturday.
Very cool. Okay, speaking of temperature, with these fruits and everything, fermentation temperature plays a lot into that. Because I imagine fruit could take off pretty quick. Higher the temperature, especially. So where are you fermenting at temperature wise? How long?
It depends on the base beer. It depends on what we're trying to achieve. I will say one thing with these beers, that there is, when we crowler or can these beers, there is live yeast in those beers. We don't filter, we don't pasteurize. So these are unfiltered, unpasteurized beers. So they do have living organisms in them, yeast. And you're adding a bunch of sugar with all the fruit. So there is some residual sugar left in those beers, and there is some live yeast in those beers. So what I will say is, if you're going to take these beers home with you, you should keep them cold.
Yes.
It says so right on the label, but you should know, keep them cold.
Yes.
Drink them fresh.
Yes.
We don't really ask you or expect you or want you to ship them, but if you do, you better ship them with ice.
Yes. And fast.
You better overnight them, or at least maybe 2-day.
Oh, yeah.
And not during the dead of summer in Texas. I've learned my lessons.
So, as a business, this is not our thing, and we are not actually telling you to do that. We don't do that.
Right.
But if you're going to, because
Yes.
we know people get crazy and they do whatever they want, no matter what it says on the label.
Right.
You better be careful.
Well, okay, so that's okay. That I don't know that this is a point of contention, but I've seen posts. But that's just the nature of this style of beer, fresh beer. There are certain beers that you want fresh, hazy IPAs, fruited beers. I don't know. There's other beers that you want.
Any beer. Beer's best fresh. I don't care what kind of beer it is.
Sure, but some are a little more tailored to, like a barley wine would be more tailored to
True.
aging.
They're more conducive.
Yes, and it's interesting to try those side by side, like a 1 year versus the original, whatever. But these are fresh beers, and that's the style. That's the intention. I just find it funny that I don't know, to see people post, like, I don't know if they were professional brewers or not, but some people get in their place. There's been people hated on the hazies. I think the hazy hate, is it gone? I think it's gone. I think it's hazies.
I think it's died down.
It's not gone. Yeah, it's definitely it's a dying breed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People just, maybe it's just the change. People just don't like new and change. Maybe people are a little reluctant.
I remember when I was first coming into kind of really getting into craft beer at the time, and it was when West Coast IPAs were getting extremely aggressive, and people were going over the top with bitterness and things like that. And even that at that point in time was kind of getting a little bit of flack from more traditional people.
Yeah.
I think that's just kind of a thing within brewing. Anytime something, and just in life in general, anytime you have something new, there's always a certain portion of people that are going to be resistant to that change and resistant to that new development. And I think, beer's no different. So anytime we have these new styles come out, I think there's always going to be a certain portion of the community that is a quick adopter, and there's going to be another part of the community that's going to be like, no, that's not really beer to me, or whatever their reasoning or justification behind their dislike is.
Yeah. No, it's kind of the nature of, I do it with my kids. The new generation always tries something new. They take something and they go, my girl's watching those slime videos and the squishy videos. And I'm like, that's so dumb. Y'all should watch this. And they're like, this is boring. And so it's you as an old dude, you're like, y'all don't know what good is, but they're kind of figuring it out. And if it's not a good thing, they'll give it up. It'll be, once the videos get a little too silly, they recognize, some of them do good videos like these how to make a squishy. You know what I'm talking about, all the slime and the squishy? Are y'all down with any of that?
No idea.
They make slime. Your kids don't make slime?
They do. I don't think we're there yet, though.
Yeah, mine's only 8 months old, so definitely not making it.
Wait, maybe 9 or 10 months. That's kind of prime slime. They make slime. It's just a different type of.
Yeah.
It's out of the,
Yeah.
the nose and the.
In every other hole.
Yes, but it's like slime. You can make slime out of just household like products, and people make different types. Like some have glitter. It's kind of like with beer. Some have glitter, and some make noise, and some there's like all these different types of slime. And they watch these videos, and then they also make these squishies that are just like soft, like stress relief balls. That's just what they were for us. Just a marketing ploy for people that sold paper products and whatever. I don't know. You get the squishy balls, but now they have different types of squishy balls, and then they do like how to redo your squishy. I don't know. I was just watching all these videos the other day, and there's fast cuts and all these different sound effects. I'm like, y'all should watch something better. But that's just that they're figuring it out, right? Why am I knocking something? It's like, if that's not popular, then why does that have 8 million views?
Yeah, no, there's definitely a reason it exists and a reason it continues to exist.
Right.
So
somebody's finding enjoyment, and who am I to say you shouldn't find enjoyment in squishies or whatever, or hazies? I like hazies. Maybe if I gave it, like, it's like hazies. At first, I'm like, oh, well, there's a person I know that was like, hazies will never be around. I'm like, okay, well, I just won't even bother with it. But then I try one. I'm like, that's pretty good. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'll try another one, and that one's pretty good too.
Well, look, there's a reason why people line up to get hazy beers or fruited beers or whatever beer is hot right now. There's a reason people line up and wait an hour, not just here, but they also wait at other places in town and around the country. Mm-hmm. You see, there's so much hype right now around some of these styles, and it's a great thing. You're bringing new people to beer.
Yeah.
I don't like to consider ourselves a hype brewery, although I think some may. I mean, but what we do is what we like to do.
Yeah.
We do brew traditional styles. We do brew new styles. We do brew crazy styles. Mm-hmm. This fruited ninjas are quite kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I don't really know what this is, but we do it, and people love it. And, at the end of the day, we're a business, and we sell beer to people who love beer. So if somebody... It's not really like selling your soul or selling out, but it's like if we're enjoying drinking the beer ourselves, if I'm sitting on my back porch drinking the beer, why am I not making it?
Yeah.
And why am I not selling it? Because if I'm importing it from other parts of the country and other parts of the world for me to enjoy, then I bet you that like at least somebody else will enjoy it, one other person. So why don't we make that? Well, so we're young enough. We haven't really kind of defined ourselves. I mean, we make this and this and this, and people know us for hazy beers, but at the end of the day, nobody outside of Houston really knows who we are. So why can't we redefine ourselves? Why can't we do what we want to do? I still have 6 taps on the wall that have no beer flowing through them. Why can't I make 6 new beers that will fulfill somebody else's palate besides mine or yours or somebody else's?
Yeah, why do the thing that's already been done?
Yeah, I mean, why do that? So there are people out there pushing boundaries. We're kind of following in their footsteps. I mean, we're currently not pushing many boundaries in the greater beer world, but we are following in the footsteps of those who have. And maybe one day somebody will do the same with us. It's an open market.
Yeah.
There's so many things to do, and there's so much beer to sell.
Well, it's just exactly what you said. If people are enjoying and have, there's people there are people that enjoy, like, even if you said you're not a hype brewery, but there are people that enjoy the hype. It's exciting. Hype is exciting. That's why it's called. That's what hype is. It's excitement about something.
Yeah, that's right.
And
that's right.
Who doesn't want people to be excited in life? We got plenty of stuff not to be excited about. We got, like tax day and Black Friday. If you're caught up in the middle of that at a store, that's not exciting. I mean, I guess it could be if you're into that. But and if you're not, maybe you work at an accountant office. But anyway, there's plenty in life not to be hyped about. But hype is a good thing, right?
Hey, whatever it is, we have fun with it. And at the end of the day, I spend my entire life here brewing beer, making beer, packaging beer. So if I'm not having fun, then the consumer also is not going to have fun.
Yeah.
So we like to have a nice, welcoming, and inviting, family-like experience out here, and we try to make people have that same experience. And I think, in the bigger picture, I think that really does happen.
Yeah.
The people who work behind the bar on release days, I think we kind of enforced that onto those folks. Like, hey, be nice, be inviting, be welcoming. This is fun. I know there's a line, but this is fun. Beer is fun. It's just beer. Chill out, man.
Yes.
Have a beer.
Yes. That's
just relax.
Yeah.
It's beer.
It is beer. That's
beer.
right. Don't take it so. I mean, take serious the enjoyment of it, right?
Yes, exactly.
But don't take it overly serious or too serious. I don't know what.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It should be fun.
It is
At the
fun.
end of the day, it's going to be fun, and it better be fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's beer. It's the best. Beer's the best. Beer with people you love or you're getting to know. Even better. It's bester. Right? I think so.
No, I agree. I definitely agree with that.
And I like that term, bester.
Yeah.
It's good.
Beer's the best. Beer with people you love is bester. It's like taking the best and making it even better. Maybe there's a t-shirt there.
It's the bestest word I've ever heard.
Let's see if we can come up with the bestest word. Do we want to try one more of the fruited beers?
Yeah, sure,
We can-
of course. Let's see what we have on right now. We have, I believe we have the Fruit Ninja that we released in cans. I believe it's still on. That was the raspberry, blackberry, blueberry. We have a pomegranate, blueberry, blackberry, pineapple, passion fruit, the passion fruit, mango,
Persimmon.
That's an interesting one. That's actually really good. We released that in cans last weekend. For those of you who don't like persimmon, the persimmon is super, super light. But I personally really like that fruit. So
I've tried, like, I guess you can make like jellies and jams out of persimmons. I just remember there was a persimmon tree on the playground at my elementary school. And that was back, I spent 6 years at an elementary school. So it was like an integral part of my life because it was right on the blacktop. So anytime it rained or it was too cold, we would just play on the blacktop. But the persimmon tree was right there, and there was that slick spot underneath it. So like 3/4 of the year, if you ran through there trying to play basketball, you were going to fall right on your ass. And that was my, that's what I knew. And then we threw them at each other.
nice.
The gooier, the better.
Nice.
That was so that's what I think of when I think of persimmons.
And you've already had the goldenberry,
Yeah.
the golden goose mango.
I feel like
that.
for color's sake, like I would think like the raspberry, blackberry, blueberry, is that like a darker?
Yeah, let's go with that. That was that's the one we released it in cans. Actually, I've actually got some cans in the walk-in, so we can grab let's grab some cans from the walk-in.
Okay, cool. That's
So yeah,
exciting.
that'll work.
Yeah.
It was the first time. So first time we ever canned that beer, and man, that was quite an interesting experience. It was. We didn't really know what was going to happen. We had no idea. I had a conversation with the guys who come in. Like, Armadillo Canning out of Austin comes in. They can for us, and had a conversation with them and said, "Hey guys, look, I don't really know what's going to happen today. Just want to let you know I'm really unsure, and if this beer is actually going to go into cans at all, I just don't know."
Yeah.
They said they kind of looked at me with this weird. Weird look on their face, like, what the hell are you talking about, man? Why would beer not go into cans? Then I poured them a pint, and they're like, "Oh, I see why this might not go into cans." So, it took us a little bit of time. So, what AJ's pouring now are some of the cans that didn't fill to our expectations. They're kind of the first couple cases really were experimental. Like, how do we get this through the canning machine type of cases?
Was it because of consistency or?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's very thick, and the CO2 volume is extremely low. So
Slow process.
yeah, so it's slow and it's thick, and we just didn't know what was going to happen.
But it got into cans.
It did, yeah. It got into cans. It sold out. This is all that's left. Like a half a case of low fills is all that's left. So, let's see what happens. Let's crack these open and see how it goes.
Okay.
So let me just.
So far into Fruit
There we go.
Ninja. If I have my equipment, if it doesn't smell like beer, then am I doing a beer podcast? I mean, it's all good. You can tell just by the little bit on the counter there. Beautiful color.
Yeah, exactly. So She's thick.
Look at that.
She's viscous.
So so that makes me think when if there's somebody's doing jam or something, how do they fill a jar of jam?
Well, they're probably not filling it through a wild goose canning line that that we're usually running 31 cans a minute through. That's the differentiator.
Wow, look at that. That is.
There you go.
This is unlike anything I've ever seen, Marcus.
So some of it splashed
Wow.
on the bar. The bar now is perfectly bright white, and it's everywhere, man.
Which
this stuff will get all over you. That's why I said you need a poncho.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
Because it's not like normal beer where it's if it gets on you, you don't notice. This gets on your shirt, and your shirt will never be the same.
No, it's good.
It will never come clean.
I'd wear it with honor. Look at that.
When we first started making these, I have clothes that I've retired because they're just purple.
You should sign them and auction them off.
Yeah, they're purple. So, okay. So what do you think, man? This is we called this. This was the label was kind of done after the movie Blade. Mm-hmm. So it's was that Blade was Wesley Snipes?
Yeah, the original.
Was it Wesley? Or
They're
was
about
it,
to it was Wesley Snipes. They're about to remake it though.
So the original label, we don't copy things, but we were inspired by.
Uh-huh.
So the Fruit Ninja was kind of in the same pose as he was on the original movie cover.
Uh-huh.
The colors are quite the same, and that was really the inspiration for the name and for the movie. So this is the Blade, if you will.
The Blade.
We call it Blade.
Wesley Snipes, Chris Christopherson, and Steven Dorff. Steven Dorff now does a cop show, I think, on CBS or something.
I forgot you're a movie buff.
Am I?
I don't know anything about this
No,
stuff.
I think I just watched Blade I saw it like on Netflix or something. Like, I hadn't seen Blade since I was 15 or whatever. Whenever it came out, I don't remember when it came out, but yeah, my equipment's fine.
So what do you think about the beer, man?
How
we do?
I haven't tasted yet, but just because I like to just take in the color, the look, everything. It looks like well, the color's amazing. So it's this deep, I don't even know what color it's not red, purple. It's like what color is that? I don't know what you'd call that.
It's like maroon, but it's more in the purple spectrum of maroon, if you will.
I think the color of royalty or something. It's it looks like in the 90s when I for prom I got to go to the kid that was the son of the doctor who had the really big house in town. They had a dinner there, and this was like the color of their living room walls back in the 90s.
Interesting. Interesting.
I don't know if that's...
Well, I mean, so it's more of a maroon color. It's it's a little more purple than maroon, but it's kind of in that spectrum. It's really that deep, dark, purpley, reddish, very, very dark color that will stay in anything.
Yeah.
And it will not come off your skin or your. You might get a mustache.
That's cool.
You might get a fruit mustache.
That's all right. Listen, I'm comfortable with all that. Wow, that's If somebody set that down in front of me and I was not sitting, in your brew house, I don't know that I would say, "Oh, yeah, that's a beer."
Mm-hmm.
I don't, because it defies beer categorization.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's why people get upset. Not upset, but a little contentious online, because if somebody says beer and then this is set down in front of me, it's like, well, this is not like any other beer I've ever seen, right? Because it doesn't follow, what my beer knowledge. But if somebody said it's almost like it has some wine-like qualities, like the color and just like mostly the color. There's the fruitiness, the wine, I like big red wines.
Mm-hmm.
It has some of those same the big fruity, dark fruit, all that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Consistency wise, though, it's unlike anything I've as far as it's smoothie is as close. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's as close as you could get. But it's still different than it's almost like. I don't know. I just want to jump in there, right? It's one of the a contemplate. This is deep contemplation beer.
Yeah, so jump in. Let us know what you think.
Okay,
I'll give you a sec.
I love the flavor. I love that. You could make popsicles out of this.
Oh yeah, I think that would be incredible.
Yeah, like summertime. It tastes like one of those a fruit pop. With but the high end ones.
Yeah, it tastes like a really good quality popsicle.
Yeah, like you had to go to the organic section of the frozen area to get the fruit pops.
Not a bunch of artificial sugar and stuff shot in there. Just
yeah. It's none of that. But if it had little ice crystals on it, it would be like that's what I feel like it is, like a melted adult.
Might have an idea now. I'm going to go and make a popsicle for myself.
Is this one at 6% as well?
Yeah.
How it would freeze, right? Would the alcohol freeze out? You want that alcohol in there.
I think it would probably freeze. I don't know. I bet you it would freeze.
Yeah. But it'd still be chewy or like soft, like.
Yeah.
You know?
Definitely don't freeze your cans. If you're listening, don't freeze cans.
Right.
Bad idea.
Right. But.
No, I have a little popsicle mold thing at home. And I have a deep freeze in my garage.
Yeah.
Those things are going to, with this beer, are going to all come together when I get home from work today.
That's an awesome idea.
Don't worry, you'll get to try one as well.
We should sell Fruit Ninja popsicles during the summertime.
Yeah.
Just don't wear white gloves.
Genius.
You may want to get like a Fruit Ninja popsicle guard for your hand. If it's super, like if you're standing outside, direct sunlight.
There's actually, so there's me and my wife, we frequent like Chinatown, Houston's Chinatown, a lot, and there's an ice cream place there, and one of the cone they sell actually comes with a paper guard that goes around the bottom of the cone over your, like above your hand, between your hand and the ice cream, so that when it does start to melt and drip, because it's soft serve, so it melts a little quicker, especially here in Texas.
Yeah. There's
a guard there to protect your hand from getting covered in ice cream drippings. I'm like, that's actually pretty genius.
Yeah. Now this is a, like, I hesitate to call it dessert because it's not. It's sweet again, like it's the fruit sweet, but it's exactly where I would want to go, like after like a steak dinner or something. Like this would be like some, like, you know, like a big dinner, like roasted, whatever, grilled something, whatever it is, those grilled and roasty flavors, and you need something on the back end, like that's a little sweet but not too sweet. That's like off the spectrum from there. This would be right there. Like this could be I don't know, like you're sitting in a steakhouse with lots of mahogany. And
I would pair this with cheesecake. I think this particular beer. Right?
Yes, because cheesecakes aren't overly. There's some that are, but most of the time it's not overly sweet.
My favorite thing with the cheesecake is like a really thick, like raspberry.
Yeah.
You know, sweet syrup. Mm-hmm. I think this beer would go really well with like a big fat like chunk of cheesecake.
Yeah, no, cheesecake would be perfect.
You could even dunk it in the beer or pour the beer on top.
Oh,
or you can
I was just kind of thinking that over here. I was like, beer sauce for your cheesecake.
Yes,
frozen like a cheesecake ball on a stick, dunk.
There you go.
Like cheesecake lollipop.
That way, if it's frozen, you stick it in, and the beer's just going to grab onto it. And it's a good idea. I like it.
Yeah.
Coming up with some good ideas here on the podcast.
So I think that this beer definitely is thick. Is it too thick? Maybe. It depends on your idea of what this style constrains you to. Is it too thin? Definitely not.
I only think we got to too thick. I only think we got to too thick with, I think it was 17 on Sunday. I think that's when we hit officially too thick. I think we crossed that threshold that day.
Yeah, so we had a Fruit Ninja with mango blueberry, and honestly, it was too thick. We just pulled it off. Like it took about 3-4 minutes to even pour a pint. We're like, it
was literal insanity.
It's too thick. Let's just pull that off, and we'll figure something out with that later.
A ladle instead of a tap.
Pretty much, it was almost like we should just serve this in little like shot glasses here. You can you get a little shot glass sample, you get a little shot glass sample. It was pretty insane.
Yeah.
But like I said, we're pushing the boundaries on what this beer could be, and sometimes, like that one, sometimes you push too hard.
Yeah.
And you end up with something that you can't even serve because it's too thick.
Well, through a traditional tap.
Yeah, that's right.
Like what other application would that be perfect for? Like this, when you say too thick, it's like too thick for what? Like drinking out of a glass?
That one actually, the one that ended up not getting poured out, poured out to the public, actually got some experimentation behind the bar as far as like using it just to mix with other beers that we had on tap that weren't fruited. And that actually did lead to some pretty interesting results and some pretty tasty stuff.
What'd you blend it with?
The Business Ox and then the Big Sheep Kolsch.
Yeah, I was going to say the Kolsch would be...
Both tasted really good mixed with the one that we actually couldn't end up serving. But you could get enough out to throw like an ounce in the bottom of a glass and then throw some beer on top of that, and it actually turned out pretty cool.
Did it stay separate and then kind of bleed up into it?
Yeah, it did until, like, if you tried to pour the puree into the beer, it didn't really work out so great. If you did it in the reverse, poured the puree and then poured the beer on top of it, it worked out a little bit better.
Yeah. Did you get to try any of that?
Yeah, we tried some of that.
Okay.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, blends are fun. I think, like, I don't even know. Like, you talk about all these different styles we try in beer, and then you just talk about, well, then let's start blending too. We're still into this whole craft beer thing. We've just scratched the surface.
Oh yeah,
it's
for sure.
There's so much out there to do and try. That's why it's when I remember that and see the post like, oh, what, why are people doing whatever? It's like we got so much to so much to try. So much, I don't know.
My question to that is always like, just never even being in the industry, when I hear people talk about like, hey, this would be a cool idea for a beer, and it's just like, why doesn't someone try it? Like, any idea is a good idea until it's tried and found out to be a bad idea in my mind. Like, let's just see what tastes good. If no one else has tried it, no one will ever know until someone's brave enough to kind of venture down that path.
Somebody will come along and do the Veggie Ninja. We'll see how it does. Like that.
That will not be me.
Broccoli squash.
Someone can have that one for you?
Dude.
You don't think like a broccoli squash?
No, I don't.
Brussels sprout blend?
No, we're good.
Spinach, kale. Do all the leaves.
All the leafy vegetables?
Yeah. Spinach, kale, mustard, green IPA.
No.
Stout? Sour then.
No, we're good.
Sour?
We're good.
Sour diet?
We're good. We're going to keep it on the we can sell this spectrum.
Is it a hop or a Brussels sprout now? It's both. I don't know.
Oh.
Someone doesn't like Brussels sprouts, apparently.
You gotta roast them.
Man, that just sounds horrible.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest.
No, it does. It sounds some things just aren't meant to be utilized that way.
Yeah. That's right.
But doesn't mean they're less than.
Mm-hmm.
Vegetables should not feel bad about being vegetables. They should, they should be proud of who they are.
Mm-hmm.
They're just,
less exciting.
That's fair. Just keep them out of my beer.
Maybe.
For sure. 100%.
All vegetables?
Yes. Well, yes.
What about a carrot?
Yes.
You don't think you could blend a carrot into this?
No.
And it would be possibly? What if it's a sweet carrot? What about a sweet potato? An extra sweet potato?
I'll put that right up there with brown ales. With the standard brown ale.
It's a hard no.
That's a hard. It'll never ever be served here ever.
What about a fruited brown ale? Where does the line lie? Is there any saving of brown ales for you at all on any level?
Well, I can be honest. I'll backstep a little bit, and I hate to even do that, but I have to because I've had some imperial, like I don't know if they're barrel aged or some brown ales, that are some of the more modern interpretations of a brown ale that you would never know. I mean, it's not a brown ale; it's like a hardcore stout. But the brewery calls it a brown ale. So if the brewery's calling it a stout or brown ale, I'll be happy with that.
Okay.
I've had some recently that were pretty good. I know some people in town are doing brown ales that I know people love, and I guess my intention is not to be a dick and be like, hey, I hate brown ales or I hate people who make brown ales, but really to say that I'm never going to make one.
Yeah.
And it's never going to be served here.
Okay.
As long as I'm around, that will never happen.
What about a sour brown ale?
Nope.
Not any.
Nope.
Nowhere.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. Nope.
Sour.
Marcus is going to go on vacation. I'm going to sneak in.
Don't even think about it. The answer is no.
An Ode
stealth brown ale.
Ode Bruin aged on fruit?
No. It's good.
Okay.
Now we're good. We're good.
What is it though?
What
is
do you
it
mean?
like in the brown ale? What's the quality that you're just like, nah?
It's just not my thing. It's like one of the only styles I really I really don't like.
Yeah, but what? I mean, there's something, right?
I don't
Is it
know.
the
It's
is it
just
the
a-
some
I think it's
part
an-
of that grain bill? Or
I think it's an
something?
overall. Just I don't enjoy it. You know, I wouldn't crack it on my back porch and drink it. I go back to that reference. I just wouldn't do it.
Okay.
It's not my thing. It just isn't. And it's if you're out there and you like brown ales, that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't
No, yeah.
I don't judge.
But
But under my reign as brewer at Baa Baa Brewhouse, there will never be a brown ale on tap ever.
okay. No, I respect that. I respect that a lot. Yeah. Okay.
I do have one more beer for you to try though.
Okay.
So when you're ready, and I'm not rushing you by any means
Okay.
to chug that one.
Well, you.
We have other glassware we can pour you.
Okay.
A second.
Well, no. I mean, I've got time. I've got time. You guys are super busy around here.
I wanna pour you a business socks, and I've got another glass, so don't rush through. I'll
Yeah, this is not a rushing beer.
I'll get you something else. Yeah, take your time.
This is yeah, I like. But again, yeah, this is a deep contemplate. This is a deep, like, even the color tells you I'm complex. Don't rush me. You're going to. I'm going to tell you things about yourself that you didn't know.
A cheesecake and a cigar with that beer.
Ooh, cigar. Well, now what about cigars? They're brown. Most of the time, I think.
They're not ales.
That's true. So okay.
Because Marcus does like stouts. They're usually
Do you
brown.
like cigars?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I'm not. I don't smoke them that often. I don't know much about them. I've tried. It's just I haven't jumped into it like I did. You know, beer's a little more accessible.
My feeling about brown ales has nothing to do with the word brown at all.
Yeah, or ale.
But when you combine those two together, that's
Yeah.
not my cup of tea.
Okay, it's like the worst Wonder Twins, like those two, by their power, or the two worst Planeteers. I don't know.
The opposite of Wonder Twins.
Yes, the
Disaster Twins.
Disaster Twins.
The two things are great individually. Put them together, it's not my blend.
It's not a Reese's peanut butter cup
True.
in your world.
Very true.
Okay. Yeah, cigars. That's a thing. Fruit Ninja cigar pairing event.
It's actually a good idea.
Yeah.
I like it.
Like this to me, there's so much, like, all the layers of, it's layers. It's like an ogre or an onion. Layers.
As long as it doesn't taste like an onion.
That's right. Let me grab you that business socks. See what you think about that, and you can contemplate
Okay.
the true meaning of that Fruit Ninja.
Okay. I'm doing it.
Let me grab you another glass.
Okay. Okay. AJ, while he's
Yep.
grabbing glasses. So, you said home brewing before.
Not anything like insane, but it definitely is a hobby.
Like what? What do you like when you brewed? What were you into? Was it like brown ales all day?
No, definitely not brown ales all day. I was just sticking to more like I brewed some IPAs, but me it was just more about the learning experience. I hadn't been doing it for long before I started here. But it was more just to learn, brewing just your traditional styles, basic
Yeah.
IPA, West Coast IPAs, traditional pale ale, anything like that, and just to learn, just the science behind it, and then the process, the process behind it fascinates me, and the development of like recipes and things of that nature. So I mean, I was always into cooking. This just seemed like a cooler version of that, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the same way. I've homebrewed. Lately, it's been few and far between. But for the process and learning and brewing around other people more recently than actually brewing myself is one of those things that you can only learn so much by reading.
Yep.
Once you get in there and do it, that's what I think that's what I prize more than anything on the like home brewing. Is the educational side of it, because I mean I could brew every day. I'm never gonna be a Marcus. I don't have that game. I don't have that.
I mean, even just being out here for, day 3 now? I mean, I've been out here before. I've worked with Marcus as far as volunteering for canning days and stuff along that line. But this is day 3 for me as far as full-time here at the brewery. And, I mean, I've already learned an immense amount of stuff that I had no idea about, let alone from home brewing, but also just from being out here on random days and volunteering on the weekends. Like, 3 days has been just an immense amount of knowledge to learn. And to now went from Monday learning how to clean a tank to today basically doing it all on my own with him in the building and listening to questions. But I mean, it's pretty cool. It's been fun. It's been interesting.
Yeah. Okay, so you just got into the business, Marcus. You've been in the business for a little while now. If there's people who listen to this podcast are probably at one time or another have contemplated, man, I could work in beer or be a part of that or do whatever. What would be your advice? Just keep showing up?
I mean, that's kind of how I did it. Keep showing up and keep bothering them.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've actually said this before. I think we did a episode with you and with James at when he was at Whole Foods, and then I just happened to be there on lunch break, so I jumped in.
Yeah.
That was kind of fun. I think you asked me the same question. That was about a year, maybe a little over a year ago.
Yeah.
And my advice then was kind of the same as it is now. Like, if you really just love making beer all day, you should probably just consider just making beer all day at home, because what we do here is not making beer all day. That's for sure. Monday morning we came in and we had an event on Sunday. It was a massive event. It was one of the biggest events we've ever had. The tap room hasn't been open for really open for almost a year, maybe more than a year. So people were excited. They were anticipating crazy beer selection and canned beers, and they were looking at our renovations and our upgrades and where we've come from day one to now, which is like 3,000% change. So having something like that happen on Sunday and then coming in here Monday morning and say, okay, let's make beer, is somewhat impossible in the space that we have. So we spent, 3 hours in the morning cleaning. And it's not just cleaning like a tank. It's like we took out the trash. We cleaned the bathrooms. We cleaned the floor. We scrubbed the floor. I mean, everything. So we do a lot of very industrial janitorial tasks, and that's what we do. We do a lot of that. I mean, 60-70% of the time is just cleaning stuff.
Yeah.
So
a vast majority of my time here, I've brewed once, clean 2 days. Been here 3 days total. So
that's a very normal thing as far as I know. Maybe there are breweries out there who don't do that, but I think that's as far as like breweries who are our size doing what we're doing, I think it's pretty par for the course. So what I would say is if you really want to just make beer, then you should probably never step into this space.
Yeah.
The things I'm interested in process.
Yeah.
I'm interested in improving what we do. I'm interested in efficiency. And yes, we make beer. But for me, like, making beer is quite it's a process that follows, we follow the scientific method with a lot of things. So it's a lot of trial and error. It's a lot of standard procedures.
Documentation.
I've got a pretty big scientific background to back all these things up. Now, I'm not a microbiologist. I'm not a chemist. I'm not all those things, but having a background in some sort of scientific field, some sort of something, is a big time help. So if you're out there and you're someone who doesn't have that background, it doesn't mean you can't do this, but it definitely helps. So I mean, you really just have to be passionate about what you do, right? Just like anything. So I am passionate about what I do.
Yeah.
And what I do is run a business. And that business cleans a lot of things and makes a lot of beer.
And then on top of that,
and then we sell it as well. So
yeah, selling, which is also part of you got to be a people person, because beer is people. You can't divorce that from that. You can't, beer is a people business.
That's right.
So
it's really a lot of things. And if you want to do this, you really have to be passionate about a lot of things. And you really have to understand a lot of different areas of what it takes to do what we do.
That smells good.
And then you have to like beer.
Yeah.
And you have to be willing to drink beer at 9:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Or whatever time it is now.
Yeah. Some people, it takes a different breed.
It's 11:08. We're doing okay now.
Yeah.
You could take a lunch break now, theoretically speaking.
Bars are starting to open. Bars with food are starting to open. So we're in an acceptable realm of drinking time now.
Yeah, that's right.
Hitch up your business socks and
exactly
go on out.
Exactly. How is business socks, by the way? What do you think?
That's good.
I know it's a big change from the...
No, you've taken me on a roller coaster ride today, palate-wise. And actually, I was afraid that this is such an intense flavor with the this Fruit Ninja, the blade inspired. Does it have a specific name? What?
It's just a Fruit Ninja, then the fruits in it are raspberry, blackberry, blueberry.
Okay, it wasn't like, I'll call it the Blade or Blade.
Yeah,
Blade
yeah.
Ninja, Blade Fruit Ninja. I was afraid
That picks up really well.
that was diesel.
Yeah.
I think that was a 3500 Cummins diesel. I was afraid that it was going to throw off my perception of this one, but nah. This, first of all, I love the aroma.
Mm-hmm.
I love this beer. This is,
Yeah, nose is pretty intense. It's taken us quite a while to get there. You know, you had some of our early beers, and although they were good, they're not quite what we're doing now.
yeah. Now this is. I think the only thing I haven't, as far as hazy, New England IPA. I think the thing that I was always hesitant about was the like the hop burn, the throat hop burn, and this has none of that, and it has all that aroma and all the hop flavor, like not like hop flavor, like when you smell a hop and then you expect it to taste, you have that flavor as well. I mean, it doesn't taste like you're chewing on I've chewed on a hop. Never tastes the way it's when you chew on a hop, it doesn't taste the way it smells.
Yeah, that's not a good thing.
No.
That's bad. I've done that too. That's horrible.
Yeah, it does. Like sucks all the moisture out of your mouth and tastes like you're chewing on a vegetable, like it's not good. But this is like the flavor you would expect. You then get that, but hops. Who doesn't love hops? I love hops.
Oh, that's one of the first. Yesterday during Brew Day, he opened a brand new thing of Citra hops, and I was like, man, that smells so good.
Yeah,
we were dry hopping yesterday, so we dry hop a lot of our beers, as do many of the hazy players. We dry hop with we use a lot of Citra. Yesterday we were dosing with Citra, and man, I love the smell. Citra is such an amazing hop.
Yeah,
it's very versatile, but mostly it's just amazing.
Yeah, no, it's the aroma, the flavor. Yeah, Citra's great. Is Citra in here, or what's in Business Socks?
Yeah, so Business Socks has a Citra backbone, but it's finished off with cashmere, and cashmere is quite an amazing little hop itself.
Yeah, tell me about cashmere.
I don't know. I don't know a lot about cashmere, to be honest with you. I do know one thing, that it complements this beer really well, and it blends really well with the Citra base in this one.
Is it a North American hop, or is it a? Do you know? Or
if I'm being honest with you, I would have to look.
Maybe it's like a variation off of something else or something.
We don't use it very often. Kinga does a lot of our hop research, and she would know better than I do.
Well, first thing I figured out is I don't know how to spell cashmere when I'm trying to Google it, but thanks to the internet, thanks to the phone.
But I mean, the most important thing is that, this beer is called Business Socks because of the cashmere, right? I mean, it's you think of those furry cashmere socks or the sweaters or whatever. So, that's why when we released Business Socks, we released socks with it. We released socks.
Yes,
and we released a sock for the beer.
I think you're the first one to do socks with your beer that I've ever seen. And
I've seen socks at breweries before, but I've never seen a sock release with a beer.
Yeah, like on the beer.
So maybe not. I don't know, but it's definitely a fun. We have fun with it.
Okay, so here's what we know: cashmere, versatile dual-purpose hop that brings complex aromas of citrus and tropical fruit to the front. Check. Origin United States. It went to college. It was developed by Washington State University. So I think they're the Cougars. Go Cougs. I don't know. And it's a crossing of Cascade and Northern Brewer. There you
Interesting.
go. Yeah. Let's see. It says complex and intensely fruity with strong overtones of lemon, lime, peach, and melon. Secondary notes of coconut, lemongrass, candy, and herbs. They can all show through in Whirlpool and dry hop editions.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, what I can say is that I don't get a lot of those things from this hop.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm being honest, sometimes I struggle to understand.
That's according to BSG, but what do they know?
No, I mean they know a lot, but I do sometimes struggle to understand where these flavor profiles or descriptions come from because
Right.
I don't always get it.
Right.
But somebody does. And
Yeah.
everyone has a different nose. Everyone has a different palate. So somebody gets it. I don't always get those things, but what I can tell you is that Cashmere does couple really well with Citra, and in this particular beer, it really shines.
Yeah. Did you? So okay. So with a New England IPA, hop additions mostly towards the end, or all towards the end, or is there any is it whirlpool I don't know, like pre-boil hot? I mean, when do you school me?
Well, again, I think it depends on who you are and what you're trying to achieve.
Okay.
Everyone brews these beers differently.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things we do that I don't tell anybody.
I like that.
There's a lot of things we do that I don't tell. I mean, literally anybody. Like I'm the only one who will know what I do.
Like AJ has to go.
He has to go into the bathroom.
I go stand in the cold room.
Lock himself in the bathroom for 10 minutes while I do these things. No, I'm kidding.
That's
No, but just like anybody doing beers like this. I mean, there are a lot of things we don't say publicly, and there are a lot of things we don't do. What we do is we're happy to tell you the hop profile, but that's kind of as far as we go.
yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. I like secrecy and mystery. More mystery. It's a mystery. I'm trying to figure it out.
I've seen people brew these beers. I've seen people brew these beers on all scales, from like a 5-gallon home brewer to a fairly large brewer. And what I can tell you is by seeing different people do these beers, everyone has a different interpretation, and everyone does them a little bit differently.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are good colors. Like-
Great colors.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that. Fantastic, Marcus. Fantastic. It's really like you've taken my palate on a journey from the Kolsch to gooseberry / goldenberry mango to deep berry fruit, contemplative, like rich guy and cigar beer. Now to business socks to. It's awesome.
But clean it up with an IPA.
Yeah. It's really good. But I mean, all of it, and it's not just flavors, it's textures and colors and all of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's kind of another
hard.
cool thing that that the fruitages and stuff like that have brought to kind of, and also New England IPAs to an extent, is the texture thing, like you mentioned. I think they like beer traditionally, at least in my eyes, like what I used to try back when I first started drinking craft beer. Beer was kind of all one note when it came to that aspect of things. Texture wise, it was all kind of the same. Beer was, when you put beer in your mouth, it all kind of felt like beer, if that makes sense. But now when you get the hazy IPAs, the fruited beers, there's a lot more mixed up in texture and palate feel when you're drinking them. And I think that's also interesting. So it's not just changing up flavor and getting bored with flavor as far as beer goes, but now you can also change it up with texture and really get some different experiences as far as drinking.
Yeah. It's like music. Like you're conducting an orchestra and you're adding in different, we need a bigger brass section, or we're going to bring in more strings, or something. I don't know. You just, I don't know. Your orchestra is different than that other brewery's orchestra. And maybe you try a different style, and maybe you both do the same style, but because your orchestra, the makeup of your orchestra is different, has a different feel, and all of that. And the only way to experience is sit down and take it all in.
Yeah.
And the best place is to do it at the brewery.
That's right. So yeah, come out to the tap room every Saturday afternoons. We're not sure of the hours exactly yet, but it'll be in that noon to like 8 p.m. window.
Yeah, and you should. You owe it to yourself to get out here and try it. Yeah, it's an easy drive out here. Just off I-10 at 359, FM 359. Just take that left. Or a right if you're coming from San Antonio. People in San Antonio listen to the show. So if you're coming from San Antonio, take a right. But everybody else coming from in town, take a left. Yes. And it's only a quarter mile down.
Yeah.
And on your left.
That's right.
And you'll see it, because the big glass door will probably be open. And you'll see people smiling and having fun and drinking beer. And you'll be like, that's the place to stop right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, good stuff. Next can release, we talked about second half of November, but watch social, watch Facebook.
Yeah, honestly, probably more towards the middle.
Okay.
But definitely in that second half. So
yeah,
we're going to try to keep releasing cans as often as possible without, going crazy. We got to stick to our process and make sure the beer is ready to go in cans before we put it in cans. But, we're looking at, mid-November.
Yeah. Well, you're doing amazing things out here.
Oh, thank you.
AJ, I'm glad you're part of it too, man.
Thank you very much.
I'm excited for you and excited for me as a beer fan to see what all's, you're continuing to do. So it's exciting that you're back open and still making awesome beers, and that your beers are out there in town in the wild for people to find, to try on tap. So go to your favorite spot. I know I was just a little shout out to Murdoch's the other day. Some Walter White. Had that out back. Yeah. Yeah. So, and then just look around, because if it's a good spot, they're going to have good beer. And Baa Baa Brewhouse is good beer.
And I'll say this too: if you are listening and you go to your favorite spot and they don't have our beer there, then ask them why they don't have it.
They probably just ran out.
And maybe, but we're not everywhere. We are small. We are small, and we do look for new places to put beer. We don't know everything, and we don't know every craft beer bar in Houston. I mean, there seems to be a newer one popping up quite often. So if you're at your favorite place and you don't see our beer there, then ask them why it's not there.
Yeah.
And tell them to contact us, and we'll get it there.
Yeah. Do that. Well, that seems like a good note to wrap this conversation up on. Let you guys get back to work.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
I just come here and talk and take up all your time, but we'll get out of the way. So everybody keep an eye out for the latest releases and taproom hours and where to find Baa Baa Brewhouse delicious beers, and it'll blow your mind and your palate. It takes you to places you never thought you'd be, but you'll be glad you went there. So thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
So for AJ and for Marcus, I'm Josh. Thanks for listening, everybody. This is InterBrews.
This is InterBrews.
Hey, guys, this is where I bug you again. Don't forget about that Patreon page, because you like this show. If you're listening by now, you love us, right? You're in love. Okay, now it got weird. Bye, everybody.
The preceding has been a presentation of Stewed Productions.